7, 6, 5. How you doing today, Justin? I'm
I'm
Joseph.
good,
I'm so
Ben.
sorry.
The pleasures of live broadcasting. That's fine. I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. Totally sticking my foot in my mouth there, so I do apologize for that. But anyways, Joseph, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really do appreciate it, and I really want to know, what is your story?
Well, I think it starts off a way that a lot of people can relate to. I joined the Marine Corps out of high school. Did that, and then got out, went to college because that's just what you do. Okay, got out of college, got a job in corporate finance, corporate America, because that's just what you do. Hated my job. Didn't enjoy it. Basically, sitting there like a zombie zoning out for 8 hours a day. So a third of my life just waiting for retirement, waiting for the future. But I did it because you need money to pay for things to make yourself happy. That's just what you do. And it wasn't until, about 6 years into that I started seeing, some of these online entrepreneurs start coming up, blogging, some of these other things online that, used to be kind of a question mark. You used to tell people you were thinking about it, and they would say, "Really, is that a thing? Can you really make money doing that?" But they started really coming up and really being legitimate businesses. So in 2012, I actually started my own websites, started a few blogs on that. In 2000 and built those up and actually went full time in 2014 on that. And then in 2017, actually added a YouTube channel to it, and the growth has just been explosive. Really just doubled my monthly income on that YouTube channel, and I love it. It's being able to break that mold and go outside, think outside the box, and create your own business assets, have that control over my own financial future, what I make, on a monthly basis is just so liberating. And I'm doing what I enjoy doing. I'm not punching numbers in a spreadsheet anymore. I get to talk about what I want to talk about. I get to connect with people more closely. And, it's a great experience.
That's awesome. So what do you see as the up and coming new technology?
Well, I've never been much of a futurist. Okay, I don't know if I'm maybe just not that perceptive, but what I will tell you is, there are things coming out that will amplify a lot of the technologies we already have. Okay, so I was actually late to the YouTube game. YouTube started in 2006, 2007. There, people actually started using the platform, and it's grown into a legitimate business asset online. But it's still even new in that evolution of that platform. And what we've got coming out with 5G is just going to be exponential growth, explosive growth in the use of video online, I think. So I definitely think people need to start thinking about how they're going to use video in their online marketing, in their online businesses, and really get ready for that 5G explosion.
So by 5G, you mean what exactly?
Well, it's and not a tech person, but it's the new model in mobile streaming, right? Isn't it where mobile right now when you're using your mobile, and it's 5G right now when you're using your mobile device, then you have to send a signal from your phone to a tower, and that's how you get your signal back and forth. With 5G, then any like connected devices can talk to each other, so you can get signals from your phone to someone else's phone. And basically, what that does, it decreases the time it takes to for that signal to pass back and forth. You might not realize it, but when that signal goes from your phone to the tower, to the nearest tower, that's actually quite a big lapse in that data going back and forth. So when you decrease that distance by factors of 10, then 5G, the speeds on 5G are said to be upwards of 10, maybe 100 times faster than the 4G technology we're using right now. So basically, what that's going to allow people to do is real time And like I said, everything seems real time now. We're able to stream a live conversation thousands of miles apart from each other, but it's not real time. There is a lot of lag in that data. Well, with 5G, it's going to be truly live streaming, truly real time. I've seen people are talking about usages of 5G, and they're talking about doctors are going to be able to do virtual surgeries on someone from a distance. So you could have a doctor in LA doing a surgery with robotics on someone in New York. That is how sophisticated this is going to be. And so yeah, not only the implications for video and online marketing, but obviously so many other industries are going to be affected by this development.
That's incredible. I can't even wait to see how that's going to play with virtual reality and where that's going to go.
Exactly. I mean, right now, virtual reality, there is so much that goes on within the software of that, and so much processing that needs to be done that those lags just create a falsity in the experience. But when you have truly real time data going back and forth, and it becomes real. It becomes that virtual reality that I think a lot of us are looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that, because when I grew up, I played a ton of video games, and I always really liked them. And actually had a little bit of trouble putting them away, but the one thing that I felt was always missing was that element of really being there, like really being in it. And feeling like you're immersed, like the being able to fly, or being able to, shoot electricity out of your hand, just something cool, like superhero stuff, right? Like that to me has so many implications that are so farther reaching than just the game, like you were saying. Think about having this conversation, but in virtual reality, sitting right next to each other. I mean, the possibilities are limitless.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's one thing that I think people really need to be waiting for and to be expecting, and to build that into how you're preparing for it. That combined with this self-driving technology that's being developed, I think unfortunately a lot of people are going to be surprised by self-driving cars. They've already got commercial trucks that are going coast to coast without a driver. Now, in the test cases here, we're seeing drivers behind the wheel, or maybe in the bed behind, but not physically touching the wheel. So the technology is already there for a truck to drive by itself from coast to coast. And of course, what does that mean for the tens of thousands of people that count on truck driving as their occupation? With that 5G technology, of course, the ability to do those that self-driving applications becomes more and more real, because one of the things holding them back right now is that latency in the data. Obviously, if you've got a car making self-driving decisions, then it has to be not even split second, a thousandth, a millionth of a second correction in the data, and that's not possible without this 5G technology. So yeah, you need to be aware of these different types of technology coming forward, and how that's going to affect your job, your life, society in general, and position for that.
Well, I also think that that's kind of going into an ongoing debate at the time of this recording of, or at least sentiment on multiple sides from multiple different angles of technology replacing work, replacing jobs that people have. And,
Sure.
We've seen time and time again how that's happened. And we've also seen new jobs be created that have to do with, built on top of that technology as well.
Sure.
So it's like, how do you see these technologies that you're seeing coming up in the future? How do you see that really affecting individuals on a occupation level?
Sure. Well, like I said, you have to understand what's the likelihood of the technology coming forward. What are the applications? And if you're in one of these kind of at-risk occupations, so obviously, anybody driving a truck, a lot of the and it's a lot of the menial labor or unskilled labor jobs. So checkout clerks already being replaced with those self checkouts, but with a lot of this AI technology, that's obviously just going to expand. Amazon already has stores that are completely cashierless. So you look at some of these and you compare that to what you're doing, and you really see the need for a lot of people to start some of these, an online business. Or one of the things that I'm really a proponent of on the channel and on my blogs is for starting that side hustle, starting that online business, and really growing your income, to have that income security, that income insurance. Okay. I think a lot of people, they talk about the financial independence movement, the financial independence, retire early, right? And they talk about it in the sense of making money and being able to retire early and being wealthy. But there's another aspect of that whole movement where you're creating an online business, or you're creating a side hustle where you're making a little bit extra money. It's that side of that income insurance. Okay, so when the robots do come and take your job, then you've got that income insurance. You've got something to fall back on. So I think so important to even for people that you don't necessarily think that your job can be replaced by some of these technologies. Just look around what you can do online through your own business. It doesn't have to be a large 40 or 60 hour a week job. Spend 5-10 hours a week creating that online business, creating that side hustle, and and protect yourself, really.
Do you ever think we could get to a point where artificial intelligence is taking over so many different things that we almost don't have to work as people? We can just kind of do whatever we want, and the machines will kind of do everything for us.
Well, I mean, given a long enough timeline, of course, that's the inevitability. Obviously, the technology is moving in that direction. Who's to say, or who's to know how long it would take for something like that to happen? Now, and I don't know that it's within any of our lifetimes that it's going to happen. But the idea is just that, besides creating your own wealth drivers to make that income security, but also, it's obviously the only people that are going to survive in that time are the people that own the assets. The people that own stock in those companies, those robotics companies, or people that own the robotics companies themselves, or the assets that do that work. Unfortunately, again, I think a lot of people at the lower end of the spectrum, the unskilled labor, and that is actually getting replaced by these technologies, they're just going to be left out. So obviously that's a social questions that need to be answered as far as a livable income or a livable wage for them, even if there's not necessarily anything for them to do. But that's for the sociologists, I guess, to answer, and the politicians.
What really sparked your interest in finance? Like what attracted you to finance?
I mean, it's been so long ago. I think it was probably just the money. I saw finance as one is obviously a sector that where you can make a lot of money, and part of the reason why I went into as an equity analyst. So I worked with some of the Wall Street firms, venture capital firms, analyzing investments, but also just the challenge of it. I think it's a very challenging and demanding industry. To obviously, so many people, millions of people out there are analyzing their own investments or using a portfolio manager. So I think I saw it as something where you could work hard, you could do the analysis, and really set yourself apart and challenge yourself.
I hear all the time from entrepreneurs who they talk about how most people don't understand how money works, or people just don't do the same things. Most people don't do the same things as the wealthy. And then you read different books like The Intelligent Investor, that I mean, I don't want to paraphrase Graham, but to some extent, most people aren't investing intelligently, right? And so I feel like there's a lot of sentiment of some people, a very few number of people saying most people don't know what they're doing with their money. But then there are a lot of people who are in the financial world, the financial industry. And so it would seem like those people do know what's going on or do understand how money works. So do you think that most people don't understand how money works, or like, what do you think is the reality of the situation about money and how much people understand about money and how much people understand finance in general?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think it is one of the tragic truths of our society, and all you have to do is look at that income inequality that everybody always talks about and points to see that it's obvious that the vast majority of people, and I don't know if I can put a percentage on it. I'm sure it's more than half, or it seems like it's more than half, that are basically, they're working their 9 to 5. They're pretty much spending most of what they earn, if all of it. So they never create those assets. They never buy those assets as far as investing or creating their own business or that kind of thing. They're pretty much stuck, and then you look at the other side where you don't even need to be in the finance sector to understand personal finance, to understand, just some basic habits and some basic rules of saving, investing, creating your own online or creating your own assets, creating your own business wealth. To really be in that, in that other 20%, let's call it. And it's interesting if you actually look, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how people build that wealth, how the rich get rich from this other side of the population. They think, they're going after penny stocks and they're placing big bets in the stock market. And if you actually look at a survey of what the wealthy do with their money, where they invest it and what they use it on, the vast majority have. So I think the average is around 57% of their money in their own business or in startup businesses, directly invested in other businesses, not necessarily stocks, but directly invested in other small businesses. And then, another large portion, around 25% is in bonds. So very safe fixed income. And then maybe 10 or 15% in cash, which, if you ask most people, they would say, oh, well, I assume the rich have so much more money in stocks, making money, making those double digit returns or whatever you see on CNBC. And that's just not the case. I'd like to say, look at your investments, your investing account as a really nice savings account. Okay. You might get 7-8% return, but it's not going to rank you rich. Okay. It's a good place to put your money, while you're not creating those business assets and really creating that real wealth. But investing is never going to make you rich. Okay. To do that, you really do need to be creating your own business, buying those assets, growing those assets that are going to produce profits. Okay. And so I think that's a huge misconception that we have between, the largest part of the population that even if they're spending some finance and try to get there, they still have these misconceptions about what it means to actually grow your wealth and become wealthy.
So what sort of assets could normal people build or grow?
Sure. Well, we live in an amazing time for that. A time where, it costs almost nothing, negligible amounts of money to create an online business, right? For example, 20 years ago, to create a retail business. So I'm talking, manufacturing a line of jeans, selling them to a national audience. It would have been millions of dollars to buy the manufacturing equipment, the factories, branding, legal, everything like that. Now you can start with $5,000, buy maybe $3,000 or $4,000 worth of your product, put it on Amazon and have your own retail operation. You can basically through Amazon FBA is what it's called, is you outsource with you contract with a manufacturer, usually abroad. They will manufacture your product, slap your brand on it. So your stickers, you have, your name on the jeans, on the butts of jeans all across America. They ship it directly to Amazon warehouses and you sell it right out of there. So you never even have to see your product, but you sell it directly online to an international audience. It's for often less than $5,000. Starting a website, the digital real estate, it costs less than $3 a month to run a website. And so there's other things that you can invest in that business for, but when you're talking about creating an online business for less than, $10-20 a month, that is something that is well within the reach of anyone out there. Okay. $20 a month. That's 2 less drinks when you go out, with your friends each week. Okay. Or in any single week. And that just wasn't possible, 10-20 years ago, to create a retail store or really any kind of a business. You would have needed tens of thousands of dollars in startup money. So yeah, starting a website, starting on Amazon FBA, self-publishing. It used to be to publish a book was basically for all intents and purposes impossible for most people. Even if you had a great idea, you still couldn't get that okay from a publisher, which in turn would have to spend tens of thousands for printing and distribution and everything. Now, all you need is a couple of months. Write out your book, publish it on Amazon for nothing, for free. And, you've got online assets. You've got assets that are creating wealth for you every single month. I've got 10 books, actually an 11th book coming out pretty soon for self-publishing that makes a little over $2,000 a month. And it's passive income. I've created the books. They're on Amazon for sale, and they generate that income every single month.
So it seems like to create the assets, we actually need to deploy time and capital. So
Sure.
When we're deploying our time,
I'd say it's not so much the capital anymore. I think there's a reason why they call this the knowledge economy, right? Because like I said, 10-20 years ago, it was very much the capital economy, where you would need hundreds of thousands even to start your own company, start a retail company, or even millions. But now in this knowledge economy, it's basically just what you can take out of your brain, and sure, and that time that it takes to produce that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I guess what my question is not everybody who starts a YouTube channel is gonna, be able to turn it into thousands of dollars of passive income every month. Not
Sure.
Everybody's going to be able to. Maybe they do. I'm not exactly sure. I just don't think that everybody who has gotten there, and it may not have been their intention. But when it comes to really like sustainably building assets that can compound over time and help you grow your wealth, like really build long-term wealth. I mean, is that something that is really achievable for everybody? Do you think?
I think it is. Now, of course, there's always going to be hurdles for people. 10-20 years ago, in a capital economy, it used to be the capital. You had to have money. You had to have money to invest it or to make money, right? In this knowledge economy, you have to have that knowledge to be able to produce these assets. Well, the thing is, and I feel like a lot of people are stuck in that limited mindset of they don't have the time to do something, or they're not tech people, or all the things that go on inside your head to limit what you can actually do. But let's be honest, everything is online. It's basically free for the most part to learn something. So yeah, it might take a month or two to learn how to market, how to grow a blog. It might take a month or two watching some of these channels on YouTube about how to start and grow a YouTube channel. But it is well within the reach of anyone out there. Okay. I can tell you from my personal experience, this is not rocket science. Okay. If I can do it, truly anyone can, because, I am not a genius in any sense of the word. So yeah, it takes that dedication to build that knowledge in something, to be able to grow these assets. But like I said, it's never been more achievable by the common person. You no longer have to be born into a wealthy family with lots of capital. You can just go online and learn what you need to learn, and there you are.
It's pretty cool.
It is an amazing time. It is, really.
So I believe that as part of your background, you were talking about being in private equity.
Sure.
What were your experiences there, and what were some of the key takeaways that have been most helpful to you moving forward?
Okay. Well, I think a couple of things. One is just kind of the fast pace and the kind of personality it takes to be successful in that environment. It is very much a day on, stay on, hard charger kind of environment, right? So as an equity analyst, you're expected, especially for those first few years, until maybe you reach a portfolio manager role or something like that, you're working 10, 12 hours a day at least, and sometimes during a little bit busier time, up to 16 hours a week. So it is very challenging. It is very fast paced, and I think it really teaches you to to do what needs to be done. Frankly, to sacrifice your time, sacrifice maybe some of the other things that you want to do to be able to succeed. So that was one of the things. One thing that I think has helped me just in my role as a personal finance person, through YouTube, is just some of the things that I've seen on Wall Street that is really kind of feeding into the misconceptions that people have about investing and making money. There are a lot of lies perpetrated by the larger banks, by Wall Street, that actually really serve to keep people poor. The idea of that you have to be stock picking to be investing, the idea that you can't be investing, you can't do your own investing, things like that. That really serve no one except for the people with the information, the people, the brokers and the agents and the analysts that are able to sell the information that they want to sell. So it's one thing that I've been able to take to the blogs, to the YouTube channel, to really show people how anyone can invest, some of the truths to investing and what investing is really about. So not necessarily something that has helped me in my career, but something that I've been able to share with other people.
Let's talk about some of those truths of investing that most people don't know.
Sure. Well, I think you got to understand that investing has become an entertainment industry. Okay, investing on channels like CNBC, blogs, all the online financial media, it is really about selling ad dollars and selling brokerage fees, right? So to do that, they need to keep you excited. They need to keep you scared about picking stocks or about the economy or about the stock market. That's why you see so much so much information about a stock market crash, or all the articles, all the information or the analysis on stocks that are going to be 10 baggers, right? That are going to multiply your money by 10 times. And that's not real investing. Okay. That's closer to gambling, in fact, than it is real investing. Real investing is, just putting your money regularly into an investment account, using what I call a core satellite strategy of investing, which is basically just investing, maybe 75% of your money into a small group of funds. Okay, so maybe your exchange traded funds that give you exposure to stocks, to bonds, and to real estate. You're going to hold hundreds of stocks, hundreds of bonds, and stuff in these funds, and not going to have to worry about it. It's going to give you a market rate of return. And then, if you do want to pick stocks, then you can take that other 20 or 30% of your money and pick a small handful of stocks. But that's not really the core of your investing strategy, right? I know a lot of people that do very well just investing in maybe 3 to 5 funds. They don't worry about their money. They put money into their account every month, and they let the stock market do what it does best. They have their job and do what they do best, and they don't even worry about it. You do not need to follow stock market advice. You don't need to turn on CNBC for 3 hours a day to pick up 10 stock picks. Okay. That's not what investing is really about.
That's huge. That's huge, because I feel like so much of the daunting nature of investing is like, I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to do. I'm going to mess it up. I have to be right. I have to keep picking all the winners, and
it's all a lie. It is all a lie. It's designed to keep you either scared or excited, to keep you trading in and out of stocks, because that's a commission each time you trade on a stock investing platform, and for these sites and for these channels to sell ad dollars. Obviously those commissions generate huge ad dollars for these sites, and that's what investing is about anymore. So there are definitely a lot of misconceptions, I think, perpetrated by people in the financial media to generate that money.
Well, I think that's awesome that you are taking your knowledge from the inside at the heart of finance, like inner finance, and bringing it to the people, because I think it's really important, and not enough people really know or have ever been exposed to that information.
Sure. No, they see CNBC, they see any kind of a financial website, and that's all they see is that stock picking. Okay, I have to spend an hour today learning 5 stocks to pick, or how to pick stocks myself. And it's just not necessary. Investing is treated as a very solid savings account where you put your money in every month. You don't aim for those 20 or 40% returns. You get a respectable 7 to 10% return every year, and even at 7%, your money is going to double every every 10 years. So you keep putting money in, it's going to double every 10 years, and you're going to be very well off.
So what happens when the whole market crashes? Mm-hmm. And this sounds kind of like an index of the market. The whole market goes down. What happens at that point?
Nothing. You keep on investing, and the market always goes up. Okay, there's 2 truths to the stock market. The market's going to go down, and the market's going to go up. Over the long term, it's just going to keep on going up. Okay, now that does obviously hold a rule in there where you need to understand how your age influences how you invest. Okay, so for anyone with more than 5 or 10 years of investing left, anyone with more than 5 or 10 years until they're going to be needing that money in retirement or whatever, you can invest just in general, the stock market, bonds, real estate, that kind of thing. And you don't have to worry about it, because in any 5 or 10 year period, stocks are going to fall, but they'll end up rebounding, and you'll end up making money. For anyone within that 5 or 10 year period, then obviously, yeah, you do need to be to have more in bonds, more in maybe real estate, just to kind of smooth out those stock market ups and downs. So there is a school of thought that so younger investors are going to have maybe 60% of their money in stocks, maybe another 25% in real estate, and you can do that in real estate investment trusts, which are companies that trade just like stocks. So you don't have to necessarily be managing your own properties. And then the rest, maybe 10, 15% in bonds. And then slowly, gradually over the decades, as you move closer to 55, 65, then you shift that money from stocks into bonds, and maybe into a little bit more into real estate. But that's really the only thing you need to do for investing. That is the extent of what you need to do for an investing strategy. It's not picking the next high flying Netflix or Apple or anything like that. It's basically just adjusting how much you hold in stocks, bonds, and real estate throughout your lifetime.
Well, that's significantly simpler than
It is.
what it would appear to be. And it almost seems like we're deploying a dollar cost averaging strategy, which is that putting in every single month to where when you may be putting in, let's say $500 a month, well, that $500 may buy you one unit of security 1 month, but then it may buy you 4 another month. But over time, that averages out to where you don't have to pick the right time. You don't have to time it. You actually get to just kind of ride the market up and down. And when it's lower, you get more bang for your buck. So then when it goes back up, you're actually taking advantage of when it did go down, which will kind of offset.
And I think that's a great outlook to have on investing. If you're investing the same amount every month or every few months, then yeah, when stocks fall, when stock prices fall, then that sucks because the value of your portfolio is going to fall. But you're able to buy more. Yeah, you're able to buy more with that same amount. And like I said, eventually the stock market always rebounds and hits new highs. And so it's an opportunity really. One thing I will say about dollar cost averaging is that, if you're doing it in a single stock, so what I recommend again is putting the vast majority of your money in these funds that are going to be holding hundreds or even thousands of stocks in each one. So you don't have to worry too much about any particular stock really crashing or going and destroying your wealth there. If you are investing in a single individual stock, then there's a very tempting trap to fall into with dollar cost averaging, where you are throwing more and more money into this stock. And eventually you have so much of your wealth invested in this one company that it can potentially destroy your entire portfolio. So I usually recommend, if you are investing in individual stocks, hold no more than probably 5% of your total wealth in any single stock. Okay. So maybe you start investing in a stock and you put some money to it. Maybe it ends up being 1%, maybe 2% of your total wealth in there. Then yeah, you can dollar cost average to where you have up to 5% of your money in this single company. But beyond that 5%, just don't fall into that, because there are very, very good companies that have become very big financial traps for people. You only have to look at the coal producers a few years ago. Most of them went bankrupt before they were able to dig themselves out. GE, I think just over the last couple of years, has fallen from maybe $50, $60 a share to like $5 a share, or $6, $7 a share. And so if you're following that stock all the way down, putting more and more money into it as it falls, thinking, well, it's got to rebound eventually. It might not. GE, I doubt that GE will ever see $50 or $60 a share again in our lifetime. So dollar cost average into these funds, invest in individual stocks if you like, but limit your exposure into each one.
That's great. Well, Joseph, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Sure, my pleasure.
It was truly an honor to get to chat with you for a little bit. So thank you very much, and I really do appreciate your time.
Excellent.
Awesome, man. And to everybody watching and listening, I want to thank y'all very, very much, and I will see you on the next episode.